everybody. Welcome into Tom Curran's Patriots Talk podcast. Phil Perry alongside. Let's go, Firebuds. Let's jump right in. Phil was complaining that he has an earworm from a children's show.
All I can think about.
And I called it up, and it sounds like a song that it's not easy to shake.
I mean, it's very catchy. I'll give him a lot of credit for that. But it would be nice to be able to actually have a thought in my head without that in the background.
Well, consider yourself fortunate that your kids are child TV age in 2026 as opposed to 1997 to 2002 when I was listening to the Teletubbies theme.
Oh, fair enough. Or Barney. Was that their age too or no?
Yep. I kind of didn't mind Barney that much.
Oh, okay,
or
good.
Theodore Tugboat.
Oh, I haven't even heard of that one.
Yeah, it was kind of that's a
sort of an answer to Thomas the Train.
That's a pull.
Snipe.
Yeah, Thomas the Train was just the entire current household revolved around Thomas and Percy and Gordon the Big Engine. And
those guys are legends.
They are. Percy and Sir Topham Hatt. Confusion and delay.
A lot of confusion at the Perry household about whether or not Percy is a male train or a female train.
Oh, he's a guy.
That's what I try to tell them.
Yep. He's a guy. I
don't know why they're so focused on that.
He's a fella.
Yeah.
I think the only female train that I can remember is Lady.
Elizabeth. Or no, sorry, not Elizabeth. Emily. Emily really knows her stuff. That's another theme song. I could sing the entire Thomas the Train theme song, I think, right now. I haven't heard it in years. Ryan, our oldest, was big into that. The youngest, not as much.
Huh.
Yeah. Emily really knows the stuff. Henry toots and huffs and puffs.
I don't think that they had updated the theme song in 1999 with all this stuff. Oh, yeah.
That's an updated version, you think?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it's all remixed.
There's a few. There's several. The Cars.
They went back in the studio.
The Cars. Talk about a pull here.
The band?
The Cars that Thomas pulls. Those orange passenger cars. Also, female.
Huh.
I would assume. I don't know why we're getting into train gender.
You mentioned the Cars, and I want to ask folks out there because I do see activity in the comments, and I like it. And I saw a question on Facebook. It was a good question about bands. What? Because I'm old?
Classic old guy move, being on Facebook. But go ahead, keep going. I'm sorry.
What's the best first album that a band ever had?
Ooh.
And I don't know what the very best is, but for my money, the Cars, as I would have said when I was starting in the business, is real close. Real close.
They've done a list of this. I just am Googling it really quickly. The Rolling Stone, 100 best debut albums of all time.
All right. While you continue to Google and see where the Cars came in, the Cars.
I could give you the top 10 at some point in the near future.
Yeah, we're going to do that. But what do you say we check in on the A.J. Brown saga today before we hit draft potpourri with Phil Perry? This is Jonathan Jones, good friend of ours from CBS Sports, writing. For months, we've been reporting it's likely A.J. Brown will not be with the Eagles, the Sixers, in 2026. Remains true today. Hurts the Eagles' salary cap. We all know this stuff. Eagles GM Howie Roseman continues to say Brown's a member of the Eagles. That's an unassailable fact. But what sources have pointed out to me is that Brown has done nothing publicly to try to punch his way out of Philly, and those sources have theorized that Brown may have an understanding that a deal will take place at some point in the summer. Making a public stink does not help his position, especially when he could be on another team by OTAs and minicamp in June anyway. Philadelphia has positioned itself to move forward in 2026 with a receivers group that can live without Brown. At this point, it would be a surprise if Brown is not on a new team by the start of training camp. Phil, does a receiver at 31, if the Patriots so choose to take a Casey Concepcion or someone like that, preclude them from making an A.J. Brown trade?
No, I don't think so. I really don't. I think A.J. Brown's ability to play on the outside is obvious. And I think you'd be getting excellent production from him for the next couple of years. We aren't privy to the photographs, the x-rays, the imaging of whatever's going on with his knee, but that's my guess. There are a number of players that will be available to the Patriots, I believe, at either 31 or 63, which is their pick in the second round, that I think would contribute right away. They would represent upgrades over what the Patriots currently have in their room in certain spots, and they could coexist with A.J. Brown and the skill set that he brings to the table. So I wouldn't necessarily say, no receivers for us in the first 3 rounds. We ain't doing it because we got our plans, our sights are set on A.J. Brown. Whether it's Casey Concepcion, Dejon Stribling, who I really like. We did our crowdsourced Patriots mock the other day for an expats, Tom, and the fans gave him, he's 6'2", 210 pounds almost, ran a 4.3s in the 40 at the combine. He's also from Ole Miss, like A.J. Brown. But they gave him to the Patriots in the second round. He can play inside. He can play outside. He can move around. He was used in the backfield at times at Ole Miss. So, there are good players here that could be good players for you for a long time, well after A.J. Brown might be gone from New England, that should be of interest to the Patriots.
You mentioned this on the show email for early edition, making the pick conditional. You want a first. You really want a first? He's got to be an all-pro. He has to have 1,300 yards receiving. Something that doesn't, the Patriots can't doctor the results. Could it also be protected? Have you ever heard of protected picks in the NFL?
I'm not sure I have.
Probably should have Googled that before I asked it. It just occurred to me.
That's something we can
hammer out.
We can investigate, sure.
But I think a conditional pick, a conditional one reverts to a 2 or
right. So they give him a second, and hey, if he does have 1,300 yards, that second becomes a first. I understand why you might do that. I don't even love that for the Patriots, Tom. If it's a 2027 first. Now, what's interesting is if this trade happens in June, the 2027 draft would be the next draft up. So you could even go one beyond that. You could start trading picks into 2028, which feels like a long way away, but you could theoretically do something like that and maybe make it a little bit more palatable for you. And the reason I bring that up, and people may be aware of this because we've been talking about A.J. Brown and this potential trade for a long time, but the 2027 draft is considered to be excellent right now. A lot can happen in a year's time, but I would do whatever I could, if I'm the Patriots, to not give away or even potentially give away, in a conditional situation, a first-round pick next year because you just don't know what kind of talent you might end up getting there.
How about this? Look into your crystal ball. What do you forecast the Patriots' 2027 wide receiver room to look like at this time next year? Well,
this time next year?
Yes.
A.J. Brown.
Okay.
Kyle Williams.
No.
This is going to be Romeo Doubs. Thank you. This is a contract year, I believe, for both Kayshon Boutte and Pop Douglas.
That's why I think this is interesting to look at.
And receiver fill in the blank from the 2026 draft class.
And Matt Collins is expiring, I do believe.
I do believe he does.
His contract.
Yes, and that,
I wish him
maybe
a long and happy, productive.
Maybe he's the kind of guy he would like to stay. They would like to have him, until he finishes his career. But yeah, you're right. He's also going into a contract year this year.
So it actually buttresses the argument that the Patriots should not be the least bit fazed by the fact that, okay, so what? We took a wide receiver. Will the wide receiver that they take in the second round, if that is when they take him, is he going to be better than Kyle Williams?
I really like Kyle Williams, so I just want to say that off the top.
Jump on the train.
I think he tracks the ball well. He's an ex-receiver who's a little undersized. But his speed is so great and his releases are so good that it allows him to play that spot. Usually the problem for guys, without getting too into the nitty-gritty, but the reason why a lot of these ex-receivers are so big is because those are guys that are on the line of scrimmage and they're getting pressed by cornerbacks on a regular basis. A lot of times, smaller players have a hard time with that. Because if somebody gets their hands on you and you're Kyle Williams' size, generally speaking, the route is kind of dead before it even starts. But he has this excellent release package that allows him to avoid some of those situations, and then he can use his speed down the field. I think there are going to be players in this year's draft. I don't think there are a lot of stars in this year's draft, Tom. I think even the first receiver who's probably going to be taken is going to be Carnell Tate from Ohio State. I don't think he's a number one, quote unquote. I think you got a lot of twos in this year's draft.
Funny. I love JSN at Ohio State. He was a first round.
He was first round, later in the first round.
And I'm not surprised how good he was, but he didn't fit the suit of a number one.
That's true. And he was used very often, if not primarily, out of the slot at Ohio State. And so that was kind of a knock against him. It was, well, you might have to use a first round pick on this guy because he is really talented, but are you taking a slot receiver in the first round? And obviously he's grown into much more than that. And that example, the Jackson Smith and Jigba example, is the one that I bring up when I talk to people about Casey Concepcion. I think their skill sets are different for sure. But I think Casey Concepcion, even though he looks like a slot receiver and he moves like a slot receiver for some people, to me, he's big enough and he has the skills to play on the outside. He's great against man coverage. He's right about 6 feet. He might be a shade under 6 feet, and he's just a shade under 200 pounds. To me, that's big enough. Keyshawn Boutte's not all that much bigger than that. And so I would hesitate to pigeonhole guys based solely on what they've done in college, because you don't know how these guys are going to grow sometimes. The Stribling example, just to use him as an example of a late second round pick who could come in, could he be better than Kyle Williams? I think he could be, because I think you could use him in more areas. He's bigger. You could use him to block. You could use him on the inside if you want that big slot who can dig out a safety every once in a while. He's willing to do that. And he brings the speed. I mean, he ran a faster 40 than Kyle Williams did at a significantly larger frame. He ran, I think it was 4.36 in the 40. And you see him running by guys at Georgia and creating explosive plays on a regular basis for Ole Miss. So yes, I think that is a possibility.
Cool observation as we're talking about receivers and body types. It's historic. It's an historic observation. So I remember when we're talking about body types and the way guys move, and it's not just a matter of being short and quick that allows you to play on the inside. I remember saying to Tom Brady once about David Patton, who was a smaller guy, but was an outside receiver. And I said, why can't he work in the slot? And he goes, look at his ass. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, it's really high. He's high cut. He's a high cut player, meaning he is taller and his legs are a little bit longer. He'd say, look at his ass. He said he's got a high ass or something like that. But the longer your legs are, the harder it is to be a quick twitch, boom, boom, boom type player. Edelman, Amendola, Troy Brown, lower to the ground, lower cut guys who are able to move quickly in those small areas and get open in a phone booth. It's really interesting when he said that, because those guys are long striders. The longer your legs are, the longer your stride will be. That's why it's hard. I'm sure, Marvin Harrison Jr. wouldn't have a hard time operating inside, but you just have longer levers to try and cut on when you're built that way, or you have to take these tiny little mincing steps around the defense, and that's not what you look for. No one wants a mincing wide receiver.
No, it's really interesting, because you're in a world now where in the NFL you're seeing almost the body types get reversed at certain positions, because somebody like a Kyle Williams, I think it's relatively rare, but if your releases are good enough and you track the ball well enough and you're fast enough, and a lot of times there's a number of them in this year's draft, Tom, these guys that are way under 6 feet, but absolutely fly, running the 4.3s, and it's just like, okay, what do I do with that? Because whether it's Brennan Thompson from Mississippi State, Deion Burks from Oklahoma, these guys are tiny, and they're not heavy. Like Brennan Thompson was the fastest receiver at this year's draft. He weighed, I believe, 164 pounds at the combine. But he played in the SEC, and there's all these clips of him just running away from everybody on the field, and he's an explosive gain waiting to happen. If you can get off the line of scrimmage, all the power to you, and we can try to use you as a down-the-field threat. That guy, though, I don't think survives as a slot receiver anymore, because the run game has become more important. Teams are daring offenses to run, and those guys that play in the slot have to be able to block a little bit. And I think it's one of the reasons why, if you look at the snap counts during the season last season for the Patriots,
absolutely,
Mac Hollins played a ton in the slot, and Stephon Diggs, there were games where he just didn't see as many snaps. Now, he got way more targets.
Not to mention Demario Douglas.
Demario Douglas, same thing. Had a hard time getting on the field, because not only was Steph Diggs going to be the first option inside, but you were never going to play Pop Douglas on first and second down, because he's just not going to be anything for you in the run game, in all likelihood. So it's a shifting league in terms of what teams are doing schematically, and it's forcing the body types at these different positions to change a little bit.
I want to segue now to kind of a fascinating trend that we've seen over the last 20 years or so, and it has to do with where players are selected and what they turn into. Patriots sent out a pre-draft press release, and they had a list of all the guys who were taken at 31 and all the guys who were taken at 63, and I cherry-picked some of the best names. At 31, here are some of the best names from the last 19 drafts. Ricky Pearsall, Sony Michel, Doug Martin in 2012, running back to the Bucks, the muscle hamster. 2011, Cam Hayward to the Steelers, still a very good player. And 2007 was Greg Olsen, tight end to the Bears. It's not a great haul at 31.
I mean, Greg Olsen, he's speaking your language right there, Mr. Tight Ends.
Right.
I don't
But
think
you
you're
have to
getting
go
that
back
guy.
almost 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting that guy this year.
Meanwhile, at 63, you have Kingsley.
Suamataia.
Phil just does it so much better. I can do it. Suamataia. Marvin Mims, a useful player for the Broncos in 2023. Jimmy Cook, Bills running back. Carlton Davis, you know him. He's a Patriots corner now. He went at 63 in 2018. Deion Dawkins, valuable Bills lineman. Frank Clark, good player for, I think he went to Michigan.
He was, and then Kansas City.
Kansas City was at the Seahawks where he was drafted. Jarvis Landry in 2014. Travis Kelce in 2013. So why? Why is that?
Why is what?
Why are better players getting taken 32 slots later?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not going to agree with that. I mean, you might be right. You might be right.
Let's go.
Let me put this fire out. Generally speaking,
Patriots should recuse themselves from the first round.
If you want to grab the data from all those years of draft picks, and you were to say which guys were the most productive, and you did it by draft slot, you would start on your graph.
I like this. I've seen this graph.
The draft works in essence, and I've talked to league people about this. The guys who get taken higher for the most part give you a ton of production, and the guys who get taken later do not.
So this is where they're taken.
That's your y-axis. Yep.
And these are the players in the first 5 picks, and they're like that. Mm-hmm. And then it just, by the end of the first round, you're like this. And then after that, it's just it's consistent, right?
It's a precipitous fall off.
It's a massive drop off out of the top 10, and then it's kind of consistent after that, and it tapers off to not a lot of 7th round players make massive impacts.
But big picture, you're getting more value the earlier you pick, generally speaking. So 31, generally speaking, is going to yield a better player than what you get at 62.
Okay, well,
I know. 31. How about we say this? 31 and the draft slots thereabouts.
It spikes at 63 if you look at the graph. Boom!
Because those are, think how many players were drafted in that span of time that you pulled those picks from. How many players overall were drafted? So we're
a ton.
We're looking at a very small sliver, and if you widen the scope, suddenly we get a better idea. Okay, well, yeah, that guy was drafted at 62, but look at this guy who's drafted at 59. He stunk, and the guy was drafted at 32 this year. They gave you 100 times more production than guys that were drafted.
Which actually
in the 50s and
underscores
60s.
when you look at all the second round picks the Patriots blundered for a decade or so, and all these players who I just rattled off. Notice none of those second round picks taken at 63 or thereabouts were from the Patriots. John Sewer and Drain Cleaning takes clogged drains seriously. Their large team of technicians is trained to solve any clog or issue in Boston's complex draining systems. With over 40 years of success serving in and around Boston, John Sewer is your local clog drain expert. With over 40 technicians on the road, they're equipped to respond to your emergency. Visit johnsewer.com to learn more. Meanwhile, mock draft potpourri. Let's roll through just a few names for Phil. Players taken. I'm not going to get into it. These are guys who have been slated for the Patriots. I'll throw in some of the names of the guys who did it, but it's ever changing. But we got Keelan Rutledge, a guard from a guard center out of Georgia Tech. Zion Young, edge Missouri. Phil, I think, has had him mocked here. C.J. Allen, linebacker Georgia. Omar Cooper, wide receiver Indiana. KC Concepcion, we've discussed. Max
Ihanashore
from Arizona State. TJ Parker, I've seen at a couple different places. Edge from Clemson. Another one from Vinny Iyer. Sporting News has him. Caleb Lomo, Zion Young, Blake Miller, Denzel Boston. Should be gone, right?
I don't know.
Cassius Howell. Phil is it's fallen from Phil's lips. Another KC Concepcion from Mel Kiper. Mel has now switched to
Malachi Lawrence, I believe, was his latest.
Right. So
also the pick of the people in the crowdsourced mock earlier this week.
There's a feeling I get that the Patriots really can't go wrong. They might pick the wrong card out of the deck. and the guy might get hurt. But you should be able to suss out a player at a position of need who can play really good football.
There's such a wide variety of names there. I think you're right. There are a lot of, and those mock drafts that you're pulling from are from very well-respected people, and no one's ever going to agree on every single player.
Let me just add this. The point of my going through that was there's edge players, there's guards, there's tackles, there's wide receivers,
yep.
There's a defensive lineman in there. So,
yeah, there are a couple names in there where I would say, we're going to be on the air, I believe, pretty soon after the pick gets made or while the pick gets made. If it ends up being a Denzel Boston, that would be a hard one for me to wrap my head around, quite frankly, because he will play basically that role that A.J. Brown's supposed to play. And I don't know personally. I know a lot of people who know a lot more about football than I do who think he's great. I just watch him, and I don't see somebody who's incredibly dynamic. With the ball in their hands, not incredibly fast down the field. It's a scary name to bring up, but the realistic scenario that could end up happening with Denzel Boston is you get a N'Keal Harry type. That's worrisome, right? So in a guard in the first round, I think Keelan Rutledge is a good player. I think Chase Basantis is a good player. I know David Andrews really likes him. We just did a sort of a scouting breakdown. David Andrews watching a bunch of film on these guys that are potential picks at the end of the first round. Chase Basantis is a guard out of Texas A&M. Great run blocker. Still has some room to grow as a pass protector. He's a little bit short-armed, and so that can give him some problems at times, potentially. But Andrews really likes him. If they take a guard in the first round, though, Tom, I don't love that.
That's what I'm looking at, because Jared Wilson was a third round pick. Round pick. Should be a good player. Projected at center. We don't know how good he's going to be. Will Campbell had what I would say is a B+ regular season, obviously. In his 4 postseason games, not that great, playing on a bad leg. But then you're going to take a guard. And so you project as having all of these guys on their rookie contracts and a solid offensive line. You still haven't hit the right tackle spot. And you have an injury-plagued left guard in Elijah Vera Tucker, and you have Michael Leonard, who's very expensive. So you might take a first-round guard who wouldn't play this year when you have other immediate needs that you have to fill on the field, I think.
You know what? You bring up an interesting name, and this is just percolating in my brain now as you mention him. Elijah Vera Tucker has experience playing tackle. We talk about tackle. They need a tackle. Morgan Moses, they need a eventual replacement there.
Again, I'll just interject. What a beast he can be when he's right.
Morgan Moses? Vera Tucker. Oh, yeah. I know you watched a lot of him recently. Yeah, he's extremely talented.
Yeah.
And he's played tackle capably in the past. Any chance that they are looking at it and saying, well, the tackle we want in the first round probably isn't even going to get to us? Should we just take the best guard? And then, Elijah's coming in. He's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and he's told us he's willing to do anything to help the team. I don't know this, but would they ever think about doing that and saying, actually, that guy's our right tackle of the future, and let's go get a great guard in the draft, and now we feel like Drake May's protected for the next however many years.
It's funny because you could make the argument, say, well, you just want your best 5 linemen out there, but then you also hear they have to be a hand and a glove, and all the fingers have to know what each other's doing for it to work properly. And again, to actually underscore, the Patriots have had so much upheaval on their offensive line since 2019, really, that it's annual chaos. And it's just settling down, I think, with Marone this past year to an extent. It still wasn't by the end of the year. When you looked at it, they patchworked it together. They got a good season from Bradbury. They got a good season from Morgan Moses. They got an okay season from Wilson in his first year. They got a nice season from Onwenu and a nice season from Campbell. But it's still a little chaotic. Chaotic's not the right word. It's still unfinished.
Yeah, unsettled, unfinished. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Do you want to keep rolling the dice at that position and saying, let's see what it comes up this time?
I don't know. But at the same time, you do have to take your shots, and generally speaking, at that tackle position, you're not getting one if you get one late. And this is what was interesting about this crowdsourcing. It's just a good thought exercise that we did for this next Pats mock, where people were making the votes. The top tackles were gone. So you can't force one in the first round. It's not a first round type of talent. Okay, so you go somewhere else. Okay, second round. the tackles don't really excite you. And there might be a guy there, Caleb Turner from Northwestern might be there, 6'8", strong, good enough feet, but he looks like he might be sort of a swing guy, Tom. Okay, so now you don't take him in the second round. Well, now you're getting like a developmental project. There might be sort of a physical specimen, and that's what ended up happening was Markel Bell got drafted to the Patriots in the third round. 6'9" out of Miami, and has like some Trent Brown vibes to him in terms of like this guy can actually move a little bit for such a big guy, but he's a little bit raw. And so, you got to get yourself covered at these premium positions. And I'm just trying to think outside the box in terms of how you might do that, given that you have a pretty versatile, now highly paid-ish, and very talented, though injury-prone offensive lineman you just added to the mix.
Before we jump, and I just want to make this quick because, we're getting into the weeds a little bit, unfortunately. My fault. It's hard, guys. We've been talking about this draft. They're picking at 31. We're trying to make it interesting as we can, and we're going to get back to the best first albums ever, and maybe we'll do some more kid shows theme songs. But is there anyone on the roster, Marcus Bryant, for instance, that you look at as being a developmental player who can turn into a seventh-round pick that was Trent Brown at one point, or an undrafted guy that was David Andrews, and turn into a really good player?
I mean, they should not give up on Marcus Bryant, in my opinion. I thought during training camp there were days where, you watched it and you said they might have found something here.
So maybe could he be their right tackle understudy?
Is he the understudy? Potentially. But I also look at it and say, did he develop the way they wanted him to develop?
Seventh-round pick from
Missouri. He was the guy playing opposite Armand Membu. He was the left tackle to Armand Membu's right tackle, and was considered, a pretty high-end guy. He actually transferred from SMU to go play in the SEC. I would say don't give up on him, but there are sometimes some things that happen with young players especially that just make me wonder, are they not seeing what they need to see from this guy as the season's going on? Mm-hmm. Like Marcus Bryant was a healthy scratch for a few games at the end of the year. Now, is that because they didn't love the way he was developing? It might not be. Was it just that Thayer Munford was a better option as a jumbo tight end because he's a little bit more athletic or he's a little quicker at the line of scrimmage? That could have been 100% the reason why. He's also, Thayer Munford's got a little bit of experience on Marcus Bryant, so he, just might be easier for him to pick things up. Long story short, don't give up on him. But he's a seventh-round pick. He was a seventh-round pick for a reason. I don't know if you just depend on him being the future Morgan Moses.
But it's funny because some guys do develop so abruptly that you're like, what do we need to spend a draft pick for? David Andrews walked in here and was a 10-year center for us.
I would say, unless you saw signs of that, working with him for as long as you got to work with him for a full year last year, you need to reinvest.
Okay. First 4 picks in 2025 were on the offensive side of the ball. The first 5 picks in 2024 were on the offensive side of the ball. Not ironically, only May remains. Caden Wallace and Layden Robinson, are they both?
Caden Wallace is still with the team.
Well, maybe Caden Wallace will turn into a good tackle.
They had him at guard, really, whenever we got to watch practice.
He said he was a tackle.
I think they've changed their tune on that one.
They have made their last 9 selections at the top of the draft have been offense. Do they have to go defense?
No. I think they are better suited to withstand the rigors of an NFL season on defense right now than they are on offense.
Did that stat surprise you?
It does surprise me.
Thought of it, but
it does. Yeah, it does. But they needed to do it. Number one. And defensively right now, some of your best and highest paid players or about to be highest paid players are on that side.
And they've spent their free agent time on the defensive side of the ball, largely. Largely. Milton Williams, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane. This year.
Carlton Davis.
Who's my guy at the back end? Kevin Byard.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's interesting to consider. Okay, let's get back
to... What else is on the list?
What do you mean? This list?
You're going to check your list, yeah.
Give me your best remaining players at 31, and give me your best remaining players at 63. I mean, we've hammered
them. People know them by now. You know, run the card in if Blake Miller's there at 31. Run the card in if Maxi Honator is there at 31.
I like this. Okay.
You need a tackle.
Who are the run the card in guys in both rounds?
For me, it's the tackles in the first round. After those two, I don't think there is a run the card in guy, except for, because he's a run the card in guy for me.
For me,
would be KC Concepcion.
Okay.
He would be the third run the card in if he's their guy for me. There are others there who would be talented, but I would be comfortable either trading back. Sometimes you don't have the opportunity to trade back, and so you have to take one. But like the Cassius Howells, R. Mason Thomases, Malachi Lawrences, Zion Young's, Gabe Akis's, like there's a whole mess of edge guys, and I think the Patriots are going to want a faster guy. It's what Elliot Wolf told us the other day. So maybe not Zion Young or Gabe Akis, but like there's a whole mess of these guys, and so you could either trade back and maybe get one. You could maybe wait until the second round. There's some second round edge rushers I really like that seem like they're second round picks. Kieran Crawford from Auburn, Jayshon Barham from Michigan. These guys are a little bit smaller. They look like Patriots fits. Guys that play really hard. Guys that are really physical. So I'm not running the card in for anybody in the first round other than those three names I mentioned, the two tackles and the receiver.
All right. Most importantly, before we get out of here, do you still have the window up on the Rolling Stone?
I do. Do you want to know where the cars is first?
I do.
30 overall. 30. I knew you wouldn't like that. Kanye West, the college dropout, is at 29. SZA, Control from 2017. Led Zeppelin's Led Zeppelin is at 27. So listen.
I changed my ringtone to Cashmere.
How about, did you know, Never
From
Mind?
LaGrange.
Did you have Never Mind the Bollocks? Here's the Sex Pistols.
Oh, yeah. God Save the Queen. Caused a lot of friggin' chaos.
That's a fun name for an album. The top 10 include a couple that I think you would be in favor of. But number 10 is Liz Phair, Exile in Guyville.
I like Liz Phair, but I wouldn't be able to sing you one song off of it.
I don't know. The Clash is 9. I knew you'd like that.
That's got,
Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction.
Radio Clash, Fire, it's a lie.
Appetite for Destruction was the first
living room.
CD I ever owned.
Okay.
Billie Eilish is at 7. Jimi Hendrix is at 6. Patti Smith, Horses, is at 5.
Okay, don't read me anybody before 2000. I got no reference.
Wu-Tang Clan, Enter the Wu-Tang, is at 4.
That's like
the Velvet Underground is at
little overrated.
3. Overrated, says Tommy Karn. The Notorious B.I.G., Ready to Die. That's from 1994, so that's in your wheelhouse. That was at number 2. Interesting. And number 1, any guesses? This is also in your wheelhouse.
Probably Bob Dylan or
No, very much in your wheelhouse.
So it's Talking Heads? No. Talking Heads 77 was their first album. Clash, The Police, Outlandis D'Amour is not going to be there.
1976. This came out.
Steve Miller Band. No, they were around the 70s. Who?
Ramones. No, not your guys?
They're good.
That's your era.
Yeah. Blitzkrieg Bop and all that shit.
You didn't like it, though?
No, I'm just not a Ramones guy. That's kind of speed punk there.
Oh, speed punk.
It's still legitimately the first punk, believe it or not. They were kind of the first punk group, even though the punk kind of started in England.
Okay, well, there you go.
Good,
that's the list.
Good book on the punk scene if you guys are ever looking for one. I think it's called Kill Me Now. That's a good one, yeah.
Did you know guitarist Johnny Ramone refused to play solos?
What about Debbie Harry and Blondie? I think their first album was pretty good.
Blondie? That sound means
nothing.
It's not on the list.
How about Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey?
Let's see.
Should be on there. Lost in the Flood. It's one of my all-time favorite Bruce songs.
It's not on there.
All right.
Is that his first album? Maybe it's not his first album.
Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. I believe it is.
I believe it is.
1970s. Madman drummers,
that would have been my guess.
Indians in the summer, teenage diplomat. In the dumps with the mumps as the adolescent bumps his way into
That's kind of a slap in the face, isn't it? His first album didn't make the top 100.
Boulder on my shoulder, feeling kind of over.
Sorry.
I trip merry-go-round.
It's such a long list.
That's his first song. Isn't that a great... The first lyrics that Bruce Springsteen launched on the world were madman drummers, bummers, and Indians in the summer, the teenage diplomat. All right, that's enough. Billy's back there going, when are these idiots going to be done? Thanks for producing.
He might have made the top 100, but he's not in the top 50, and now my computer's about to melt down.
All right.
So thank you.
Let's call it a day.
Rolling Stone.
Guys, draft's coming soon. And then after that, there'll be training camp, and you won't have to listen to this stuff. But we appreciate you so much. Thank you for being with us.
They love it.
I know.
They love it.
But I don't want them to be like, oh, yeah, he's too. See you later.